Connect. My name is Bishop Stanley Malili, and I'm so delighted to be here coming to you right from the Green Pastures Tabernacle Church in the Nana Studios. And I'm so delighted because this is a show that we bring many important programs that help you in your walk with the Lord and as well as your effectiveness in the marketplace. And so I want you to stay with us, and please, if you know someone that needs to watch this program, let them know and send them a link or tell them to log in, and so that we can follow together. Be sure to follow our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel, and where you need to subscribe, please do so, and where you need to like, especially on our Facebook page, please do so, and we will be really blessed together. And today I'm joined by a very special friend and a brother that I honor seriously. His name is Elder John Nganga. I will not attempt to even give him any introduction, because if you want to know who John Nganga is, you probably just need to go to Google and type John Nganga, because he is a man that has been in this space for many years. He's been a brother in the Lord for so many years. He's influenced Christian ministry from church, to high school, to university, to college, in the marketplace, and basically any space. He's in counseling. He's been in, helping couples and marriages to stabilize. And so really, it's impossible really to talk about John, because if you do that, you probably spend the entire program just trying to understand what he's been. But it's been so much graced with wisdom and the love for God's people and just the love for Jesus himself. And together with his wife, Rebecca, and in between them, grown-up children, because they are grandparents now, they're with their grandchildren. Yeah. They're such a blessed family. And for us here at Midweek Connect, the Shepherd and You, we are deeply honored to have a man of this caliber. So, John, welcome. It's nice to have you here. Personally, I'm very delighted to have you. How have you been?
I've been okay.
Yes.
I was just telling somebody, if you are in Jesus, you can't be other than okay. When you feel not okay, suspect you and Jesus.
You're not working together.
You're not quite connected.
I like that.
So, when coming in midweek to connect, yes, people must connect with Jesus,
so that they
will be at peace.
So if they ask, "How are you?" the only thing they can say is they're
okay.
Wow.
In Jesus.
Yeah. Thank you, John. So, John, before we get into our program today, we will be talking about Christianity and culture.
Yeah.
But before we do that, what have you been up to lately? What are you doing?
I retired many years ago.
Yes.
The other day, I was asked by the Shivo that took over from Shell to go and give a talk. I could see people asking, who is this old man? Despite the fact that I worked for Shell for that years.
Yes.
But it's such a long time since I retired.
Yes.
But I do consultancy work. I advise businesses and on leadership. I help organizations do strategy plan for a fee. Yeah. But most of the other time, I share God's word with the various people.
Yeah.
And I write books. I've written about 31 now.
31 books.
Yeah, 31 books.
Like this one you came with here.
Yes.
Is your marriage Christian or traditional? I think people need to buy this book.
Yeah, mainly on leadership.
Yes.
Because I'm aiming at young people, and I want to talk to them about the preparation for leadership, relationships. I've written several books on marriage and relationship, beginning with for young people. I've written a book on how to find a life partner to help them transit into marriage.
Because that's a real issue, really now, isn't it?
Among young people.
Yes.
Then I've written quite a bit about ethics, especially business ethics. I have a book that's called Integrity, the Litmus Test of Good Leadership. And currently I'm writing a book on old age.
Wow. Tell me something. Are you still involved in Christian ministry? I mean, student Christian ministry.
Yes.
Christian student ministry.
Last year, I must have been to more than 30 campuses in 1 year. And this year alone, I must have been to more than 20.
Wow.
So continuously.
That's
this
a lot of
Saturday,
influence.
I'll be talking to focus that's organized for me to talk to fresh graduates, to talk to them about life after campus.
That's great influence.
So totally that is a space God seems to have locked me in.
Yes.
I'm one of the people who say I've never graduated from the university. I left in the 70s,
yes,
around almost 50 years ago.
And you are still going back there.
I'm still in the campus.
And what about high school ministry?
Still involved.
Gen Zs.
I'm in KSF and involved in it. Like we are currently organizing a camp with the team. I told we have a team that we started in 1974 that ministers in high school, and I'm still involved. I'm not in the leadership, but I'm still involved, and we have a camp this August.
Many of us think that when you grow a little old and there is this generation gap, there is a problem of connection. How do you navigate that?
I think I must say God has, even me, I never imagined that by the time I'm in my 40s, I'll still be speaking in campus.
Yeah.
Because when I still remember, if you came to us in 1974 and you have 50 years, we thought you were very old.
Yeah.
You can't talk sense.
There's a disconnect.
So I got involved in the university campus totally because I knew in a short while I'll leave. I'm now in my 70s and may doing more, either equal or more visits to campuses than I was in my 30s or 40s.
Wow.
So the first thing I think is the continuity. The fact that I never left means I know the choruses, I know what is changing. I keep telling them, 20 years ago, you are not behaving like this. But I am there. Yes. So I'm not in shock because I've seen the transition.
You see the changing music.
So in my talking, in my whatever, we are talking the same language despite the years. I think the second thing is you need to, one day we were invited in Kenyatta University and we were where we were sitting, there was loud music.
Yeah.
I was about to tell them to stop. I said, no. Let them make them. We will not lose our ears in one such session. So I allow young people to be themselves as long as they allow me to speak what I believe God has given me.
So there is that.
So that's the thing
unwritten.
Because if you are just always criticizing them on things that are neither here nor there, you are just order. You not work with them. So I allow the young people to be themselves. And I will not become a young person myself. Because I keep arguing. When a mother talks to a baby that is starting, when the baby says, the mother doesn't say that.
Yes.
If it's Mukamba, he says, Azi.
When
When the baby finally talks, you talk Ikamba. So it's similarly, we older people should never talk like young people.
Wow.
Talk adult. Let them talk their language. But when they finally grow, they'll remember the things you are telling them. And that's how we relate with young people. So somehow, although I can't really explain fully, that's what I'm saying is God.
Yeah.
Because I do not have thought in my 70s that I'll be as busy with universities the way I am currently.
That is profound. If you are just joining us, this is a Shepherd and You Midweek Connect, and I am joined by Elder John Nganga, a very, very resourceful man of God that has been in this space for many years, ministering to God in various spaces, and you don't want to miss this. Please, if you can tell someone to log in now, they will get something probably they will not get anywhere soon. John, we continue. Before we get into I'm very excited about what I'm hearing about your engagement with young people. What is your biggest concern about young people? There's a lot of talk about Gen Zs now.
Yeah.
As an older man who has been in this space for long, yes. What's your concern?
There are three things that I'm dealing with them.
Yes.
Number one, I haven't done a proper research, but I think they are less ethical than we were in our 20s.
What do you mean by that?
A young person wants to make it in life, does not mind using shortcuts. Of course, we also have research done by Khan University where there are young people asked and they say, no. They want to be rich. If you have to cut corners, so be it. But that's not the only problem. It's a genuine understanding that the young person understands that you cannot be rich unless you cut corners. That's why I wrote my book on integrity. Because a young person confronted me and said, do you really mean these things you tell us in campus? I said, what do you mean? That in Kenya, you can't be the ethics you told us about. So it took, when he told me that on phone, I said, let's have a cup of tea. So I went to a Java and for 2 hours,
you spoke
I was defending myself. He doesn't want to hear sermon. He has had my sermons. How do you live your life? How did you buy a house? How did you get a job? How did you begin your business? Can you actually, in Kenya today, do it ethically? So we have a problem that they don't mind being in the CU, but they don't believe you can actually make it in life and be ethical. They think even Jesus should understand this is Kenya. So something needs to be amended in the Bible. To me, that's a serious matter.
Yes.
And we who are older have a job to do to let the people know I'm in my 70s, but I have never bribed a policeman even once.
Wow.
So they need to know that because they believe that in Kenya, you can't stop it. Of course, it's not just Kenya. The other day I do a lot of leadership training all over Africa. And the other day I was doing a leadership training in Zambia. And I don't know what you were talking about ethics. And they say, our top unethical people are policemen in Zambia. Because I was not telling about Kenya. They said Zambia, the police will hide, then appear, then ask for a bribe. I said, the truth of the matter is, the police are the children of the same mother with you. So if they are corrupt, you are likely to be the one corrupting them. So to me, that's a big, big issue to deal with.
Ethics.
People must know the Bible says what it means, I mean what it says, and that if you are ethical, you are actually on God's side.
Amen.
I tell them in my work, I told I work for Shell for 30 years.
Yes.
Contractors have come and put a gun on my table.
Yeah.
They want to sort me out. I remind them, I'm born again. I want to go to heaven. And the earlier the better. They understand, they need to understand that as a Christian, heaven is a good place to go to.
So if they want to hasten it,
no problem. I can't commit suicide. But if you want to send me home,
it's okay.
Who doesn't want to go home? So I share those testimonies in my book on ethics. Because I thought, it means all this preaching I've been doing for 30 or 40 years. They just think I'm bringing about the exercise. That in life, you can't actually live it. So I actually took the time to write the book. To me, that's the biggest problem. The second problem, ethics.
Number
second
two
problem is long-term commitment. Their marriages are not lasting, but you can already see in advance. You pick girlfriends, and they're experts in dropology. Pick, drop, pick, drop. Now, you think it's a joke, but when marriage finally comes, within 3-4 years, you're already tired of the girl.
Or the girl is tired of the boy.
The boy. So we are having a problem of young people who cannot last. Maybe it's related with the first one, but it's a totally different problem. Where you don't feel like it's fair for God to expect you to stay with one woman, like I've said with mine for 46 years. How can he expect? What about when she's annoyed? What about when they are not children? Now, we need to find a way of getting the young people to say, either you stay single, if you marry, it's for keeps. And that is a big problem currently. The other day I was in shock when a young lady told me, I know you don't know me, but you used to speak to us in campus. And she said, we are newly married, but you really need your help. I told my wife, since we don't even know who they are, let me meet them alone and see whether we really need to get involved. So I invited them to the club and we took tea. Said the reason I said, what is the problem? He said, we don't have a problem. Our problem is we married about 10 couples, friends. 5 of us in 5 years are no longer living together. I thought that's an exaggeration. I had not thought things are that
5
bad.
out of 10.
That's 50%. He said the pastors may not know they are not together, but you, your friends, we know. Because they stay in different houses. On Sunday, they come and sit together. So the pastors think they are still together. Some are divorced, some are just separated. I had turned to the husband and said, is what your wife saying is true? Yes, we can give you the names. I have now tried to study, and it is true. People are getting into marriage without the staying power. And girl-boyfriend relationship, same thing. Keep dropping, picking, dropping. There is no clarity of listening to God's voice and entering into it. That's why I wrote my book on finding a life partner, to tell them that game of keeping and dropping. Every time you drop, you are actually destroying somebody's daughter, God's daughter. And you can't be friends with God when you're destroying the daughter by dropping her without proper... Anyway, that's the second problem that needs
So you have called it what? Commitment.
Lack of long-term commitment.
Long-term commitment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that we can have a good time.
Staying power.
Staying power. And it's a big, big
And that also works in the work environment, right?
Yes, the same thing. You can't find somebody staying 10 years. You think, you have worked here 10 years. What's wrong with you? There must be something wrong. In other words, the way we used to get long-term awards.
Yes.
They think
Now
you're
I think we need to change the short-term award.
Yes.
Who has stayed shortest?
Yes, shortest. It's all the same thing.
Yes.
Lack of understanding, commitment. Hear God, and when He calls you, you know you are not coming to jump. You stay where God has called you for His glory. And I think that's a big, that's a problem we have to keep dealing with.
Now,
Thirdly,
what's the third one here?
Thirdly, about young people, and I hope they will not dislike me more for it.
They will not greet you.
They'll still keep inviting
They'll greet me and you.
And I think it's important to understand
Yes.
is that they have become too PR oriented.
PR.
They are so keen on how they look, what they do, what other people think. It can be related also to the other two, but there's a big generation of PR. That's why a young man will wear rastas because others are wearing rastas. I asked a young person, because I'm dealing with them all the time, I said, what does it mean? I just like it. Where did you get it from? If an American wears a ring on the ear, they also wear exactly what the issue. Now, if you check, it's not something they have thought through, something they actually want. They just want to have, if others are doing it, why not me? I want to look cool. I don't know whatever they mean by looking cool. To me, those three things are all dealt with by the scriptures. And there are problems you are dealing with. When you are driven by PR, even a pastor, driven by, he will not preach as someone that people don't want. Because you see, he doesn't want to be unpopular. So he will not preach. So being driven by popularity, it will ruin you. Wow. And young people, on average, not all of them, but many of them, they really care what people think about them.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's profound. Now I know this. This is not what we're coming to discuss, but I think what you're saying is so important.
Yeah.
Let's flip it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that has happened?
That's a tough question. It was easy to observe. You ask me
I mean, we can hypothesize.
Yes, you can hypothesize.
Might we
I have suggestions, not knowledge, but suggestions, just suggestions.
I hear you.
I think we older people are a disappointment.
Yes.
My generation, but also your generation, there is a problem with us. We are the people, my generation are the people who are in school before we got independence.
Yes.
There are certain expectations. Remember when I was in university, the whole Kenya had only 3,000 students in the university. Only 3,000. So tells you to be the university meant something. Everybody looked up to us. I think in the process, in our bringing up our children, we did not give them attention. We are so taken up in this professional life that we have difficulty putting attention to our children. We now can afford a house girl, even two. We kind of allowed our children to be brought up by the house girl. And although we are Christians, Rebecca and I are Christians, are we really impacting our children?
We outsourced parenting services.
We outsourced parenting services. And I think that is part of the problem. By the way, just as a digression, I used to be in 1980s. I was in charge of aviation sales in Shell.
Yeah, fuel.
Aviation fuel sales, and because that meant international, because aircraft fly everywhere. I remember one of my colleagues in London going to Tanzania and pass through Nairobi, and said, "We don't know each other. We just talk. We just telex." Those are the days of telex. We just telex each other. Why can't you come? We have tea at the airport as I connect. So I went. So, of course, we are not business. It's just getting to know each other.
Because so you just talk on
telex. Yes, we just talk. And so I asked him, "Are you married?" "Yes." "How long?" 8 years. "How many children?" "Why? I wouldn't have one children." I said, "Oh, sorry." You know, when he said he had no children for 8 years, I thought there is barrenness or something.
Mm.
And he talked in the 1980s. Then he says, why would I want children? I went and told my wife, hey, Britain is going to be in trouble. How can people not want children? But you know, many years later, I start thinking those people are more Christian than we are. Because this guy said, my wife is a professional. I'm a professional. There's no time to look after children. How would we bring them in and not allocate them time? Me, I thought it's very unfair. Later, I realized we are doing something similar in a different way. We are getting children and giving them no attention at all. We had them over. I like the word you use.
Outsourcing parental services.
Who is more responsible before God? The one who says, God, I feel I want to concentrate on professional life. Or this one who says, oh God, give me a child. In fact, if you don't get a child within a year, you call for prayer and fasting. Because you must have a child. But you have no intention
of looking
of
after
it affecting your career. This we are having where women will get a child because they must. But within 2 months, they are back at work. And they even stop breastfeeding. Because he's a bank manager. The bank matters. That child is on formula milk right from the, and then they grow up like that. So why would I be surprised that later the children we have did not get time to get values? Because by and large, they don't know what the mother does or the father does. There was no, Deuteronomy chapter 6, the idea of the Bible telling us to, when you are starting up and you are sitting down to be sharing values, that didn't happen. So I think that's the first problem of our generation. And I think your generation also has that. Second problem, which I think is an issue, is I think the schools. We went through missionary schools. In the colonial era, the government didn't have much schools. They used to be called DB, but they were very few. The average, maybe 60 or 70% of the schools were all missionary, either Catholic, AIM, CMS, whatever.
Anglican.
Yeah. Anglican was CMS.
Oh, CMS. Oh, yeah.
Remember, there were no churches. There were missions.
Yeah, missions.
The CMS became Anglican.
The AIM became
AIC, whatever. But those are the ones who owned the schools. It was compulsory to study the Bible. Values were taught not by choice. In fact, in our time, if you didn't attend Sunday school, Monday you were beaten up because school and church were related.
Together.
Now, we lost that. Not by government law, but somehow we don't care very much. We have no time to take our children to Sunday school, and then the school itself is not bothered about it. We came here to teach you. Academic performance became so crucial that all the headmaster thinks is my mean score. Values
through the window.
I think part of what you're harvesting is this driven. So I'm very happy when I saw of CBC. I don't know much about it. But when I heard that there would be no result in the newspaper, I thought that's wonderful. Where the headmasters now have to look for another way of shining. Because now you cannot say my school was number one. Again, it's what measure. That generation we have gone, that started in Kenyatta era, then Moi era, of driving people to be the school to be the best, the child to be the best. We lost other things that matter to a child because our school was only concerned about the main score. And I think they may be partly going to this. Thirdly, church would have played a role. But even in church, Sunday school has been left to women. Hardly any man wants to get involved in teaching Sunday school. So the children grow up knowing church is not a very important area because my father is the person I look for. I look up.
And he doesn't go.
But he doesn't go. He doesn't do that kind of thing. So even the child knows I'll be in church as long as I'm young. When I'm old, I'll not give time to church. Let me give you an example so you understand this is a serious matter. A parent will deliver their children on time to school throughout the week, and they're being told to drop them at 7 a.m. On Sunday, they are coming to church at 10. They will come late. What are they communicating to their children? School matters.
The church
you can arrive wherever you want. But they are not talking. But you know, you have heard somebody said, habits are caught, not taught. So the children you can say how I love Jesus, but they saw on Monday you drop them in school on time. On that is on Monday all the way to Friday. On Sunday you oversleep. And you don't say anything, but they get the message. Church does not matter. So in the process, church has become like a drama place. We do it. Our family is a family that goes to church. But values are not being done. But especially that idea of Sunday school. In fact, even a Sunday school pastor is normally seen as a junior pastor. So that nobody wants to remain in Sunday school for long. Because he wants to be promoted to a senior pastor, to somebody bigger. Yet, in my understanding, Sunday school, if the best pastor you have should not teach the main church.
Just go to Sunday school.
Sunday school. Why? Old people are not even listening. They are dozing. But these children are absorbing it all in.
And if by now they have not caught anything, they will never catch.
They will never
actually,
catch.
Yes. It's the law of diminishing returns is setting in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you see somehow the culture of the church is that Sunday school pastors, even youth pastors, is a junior position.
Wow.
When you grow up, so everybody understands this is drama.
Wow.
You do it because you have to do it.
Wow.
I think those three may explain the other three.
There's
one
more.
Suggestion.
There's one more I want you to weigh in.
Yeah,
John. And if you are watching, please, this is important. And for me, I think this is probably one of the most important things that you hear this year. I don't know, but if what I'm hearing is what you're hearing, then this is long overdue, and we need to have had it yesterday, because this is important. And if it doesn't change our lives, then I don't know what will. John, Elder John. Role modeling.
Mentoring, I call it.
Yes.
I wrote a book the other day on it.
What do you think about that?
I said, my understanding, the word mentor and discipling are the same words. Jesus never sent us to win souls. He sent us to make disciples. The church removed the making of disciples. It decided on winning souls. How many souls have I won to the Lord? But that's not the Great Commission. The Great Commission is about discipleship. And discipleship is not a group activity. It's one-on-one. That's why Jesus discipled only 12 in 3 years. So, that thing, partly related with the other three, I said, the fact that we no longer mentor. Young people, first of all, they don't respect old people. They are, in the no time, they are on their own. You know, whether it's Gen Z, whatever. But of course, even it's only that now, last year, they got a chance to tell us. But it's not, that's not the time they discovered. They knew it all the time.
But they just got the pressure was too much.
Yes. Yeah. So they busted that you people are useless. You are hopeless. You can barely be led anywhere. We are not like you. Now, while somebody has that kind of view, he's mentoring himself because he can't listen to you. You don't qualify to talk to him. To me, and I can argue in my book on mentoring, Jesus knew the importance of discipline. Let me tell you, if I preach to a group like I do in campus continuously, if I preach to a group, they'll hear, the Holy Spirit might take something and deal with it, but you'll be left with confusion. Does it mean that? Is it really possible? But in mentoring, they're able to come to me and say, hey, what you said, doesn't make sense. Then I'm able to explain. Especially when it's issue of values, they cannot be changed by talking. They are changed by mentoring, discipling, spending time with each other. But that is no longer in vogue in the church community. Even in focus, we talk about it quite a lot, but it's not something that really has worked well. Where you are able to have time with Nganga and see Nganga in his weaknesses.
Yes.
Sometimes it's real. I remember again preaching in a campus, talking about that we are available, we can mentor you when you want. The following week, Thursday, some 3 girls came and I don't know them. And they realized I'm looking, they arrived, and when I arrived, and I'm looking at my wife to ask who are these. They realized I don't know you. You told us during the Sunday service at the university that we can follow you.
Wow.
So we found out where you stay.
Wow. They came home.
They came home to come and sleep overnight. for a sleepover.
And just talk to you.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Girls.
Yeah, girls.
Not even boys.
No, girls. Now you need to understand. Of course, they are watching. They can see how I'm relating with my children. They can see that sometimes I have to discipline my children. You know, at the pulpit, you look holy.
Yeah. At home.
At home.
Yeah.
You have to deal with the home issues.
Yeah.
That's what they came for. They want to see Nganga in real place. That's what mentoring is all about. You give opportunity to the younger people to see you in your area of weakness and how you overcome it, how you deal with it. Or even that guy who dared challenge me on whether I mean what I say when I talk about ethics in campus. That's mentoring. We now took time. I talked with him. I wrote the book. After that, we have now gone preaching in various campuses, various times. And if we are going to a far distance, we are driving 3 hours. We have enough time to talk. He can ask me. And the other day, I was very happy because one of the issues he said that he had been told is that in Kenya, you cannot invest in a house without cutting corners. You said, don't be a fool. Even as you see here in the church. Hey, the things that are done to get plots, to get the approvals, to get, you have to cut corners. But Ngangas used to tell us, you can't do that. That's why he wanted to put me on my defense. So several years later, he rang me to say, I now got a house. And he invited my wife and I went to the house. Beautiful house.
And he never cut corners.
And he said, and the wife was there, he said, I heard you. I left him, I turned to the wife. Is it true? Yes. The reason it has taken us so long to get a house is that we had, when God wants you to get a house, you can get it without cutting corners.
But in his time.
In his own time.
Yes.
Not in a hurry. And it doesn't matter what people think about you. That you are senior, you still have no house, whatever. No. You are an individual, you follow God. So that's what mentoring is about. Because people can question you, people can listen to you, people can ask you deep-seated questions because now they trust you. That's mentoring. And it's lacking, and because it's lacking, no wonder young people are the way
And
they
the
are.
kind of picture we have created of the successful people in our society, they are not the people that uphold ethics and people that... So that, in my view,
and the process is mentoring them.
Yes.
That to really do well,
Yeah.
forget about my ethics. But you remain in church. Because some of those people are still in church and doing very well. But when you follow the way they are getting their wealth, isn't really right. So unfortunately, that's the wrong method of mentoring. Because you need somebody who can ask you, how did you get this car? How could you afford? Your salary is 100,000. Now you are paying a loan for the car for 75,000. How do you live on 25,000? How do you pay your rent? Now, the good thing with young people, they will ask you exactly that.
How do you... They ask you questions.
Yes, they ask you questions.
Yes.
Once you allow them, they will ask you questions. But my belief is that as they are hearing the answers, they are challenged. Some of them will follow, some will not. But that's what mentoring is all about.
So, Elder John, if you met a young boy and a young girl and you only have like 5 minutes to really tell them, and you probably will not see them again, what would you tell them?
What age are they?
Let's say they are 22.
Okay. These are people just about to leave campus.
Yes.
I'll tell them in 5 minutes, or I have 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I'll say the first thing is truly get born again. Don't talk about getting that you are born again. Be truly born again. And born again means you no longer live the way others live. You have a master, Jesus Christ. That's the first thing emphasized. Because all these are things I'm saying you can do. If the Lord does not help you, you on your own, you can't manage it. That's the most important. Number 2, please seek to know your life's call. Why were you created? You are not created to be like everybody else. Because people are going to politics, you go to politics. Everyone, and I've written a small book called Discovering Your Life's Purpose. You see, normally I write after talking to people, and I see there's an area of interest. And that issue is very important. Many people are jumping from this to that, and it's so it's important that you discover your life's purpose. When you discover it, even if it will not give you a lot of money, it will give you a lot of joy. Stay in it. Thirdly, and importantly, choose ethics as a way of life. You cannot be a candidate for heaven when you are compromised on the issues of ethics. if you put those three together, you are born again, you are clear about your life's purpose and you are following it, and you choose the way of ethics, you can rest assured when you are now 70, 50 years later when you are my age, or more than 50 years later when you are my age, you look back and be grateful for the route you have taken. I cannot guarantee you that you'll be the richest man, but I can guarantee you'll be one of the happiest men. That's my summary for young people.
That's amazing. If you're a young person and you're watching, that is great wisdom from an elder, a man that has been around for some time. He himself has raised people that have become adults, and you can take this to the bank. I tell you that this has worked for him. It has worked for many others he has mentored, and it can help you. And because of time, I think we will have to wind it there. Today we will talk about Christianity and culture, but we must have Elder John come back, because the things that God just led us and veered us off into a discussion, which in my view is a very important discussion. But for today, I think we terminate it there. Thank you so much, and God will bless you for joining us. Maybe I just give Elder John 1 or 2 minutes to just look at that camera and say whatever is in his heart, for as long as he would want to talk about.
A message for my age mates. At the mate where we went wrong, but now even in our old age, we can pray and set a good example. Message for those who still with children that are still in their house. Please, getting more money is important, but not as important as concentrating on your own children. It will be very, very important. A message for young people. Now you're an adult. From the way I'm talking, I'm blaming your parents. But you are responsible for the route you take. Don't start thinking, oh, I was brought up badly. You are. What are you doing about it? Take responsibility and hear the 3 things I've talked about and start practicing them. Thank you.